Unitarian Universalist Congregation, Marietta, Georgia, the biggest mouthful in the world. My name is Michael Myers, and I'm the member of the choir bass section. We're a little light today. I think everybody got stuck with daylight savings. And I'd like to offer a special welcome to anybody who's joining us for the first time. This is not our normal seating arrangement, so you're in a little bit of a different bind this morning for how you see the round. As a Unitarian Universal Congregation, we affirm and inherit our inherent worth and dignity of each and every person through anti-racism, anti-oppression, support of the LGBTQ communities, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues as the world calls us to side with life. We seek to build a beloved community not only here, but in our surrounding area. If you are viewing online, we hope to meet you as soon in the future. For everyone else, in person, we are invited to join us for a social time following the service for light refreshments in the fellowship hall directly behind us. The fellowship hall is on this first floor behind us. Then at 11:25, please join us for... Are we doing religious exploration? Yeah. I knew this was We're doing stewardship on the second night. There will be a worship. Additionally, there are other offerings in the order of service. I don't think there's any other. Today's a big day. For our chalice lighting, we have our chalice lighter, Ollie Tomic. Please. Why a flaming chalice? It's the cup of life we need. A cup of blessings overflowing. A cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst. A cup of wine for celebration and dedication. The flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol created, a generation. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, a light to warm our souls. Thank you. In the spirit of love and beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike. In the spirit of love and beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around and offer greetings. And for those that are online, please chat and introduce yourselves and unmute and say hello.
It is so lovely to hear the joy and camaraderie of fellowship for those who are old friends, for those we have yet to meet, and welcome everyone. My name is Reverend Christina Branum-Martin. It is so good to be with you today. And I have some really beautiful words that I found this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. One of my fellow colleagues, we bless each other on our Sundays when we go out to work. And she said, I sat down this morning with the sun rising and wrote these words. And I captured them and I want to share them with you. She wrote, once upon a time, chemists believed that they could transform lead into gold or death into life. We laugh. But are we not also in the business of alchemy? Turning loneliness into connection, pain into comfort, anger into solidarity, and faith into action? The subtle magic of church combines love with justice, creates hope out of fear, transforms individuals into community. And here we engage in a holy alchemy, finding beauty in the ordinary and life in the present. Come, let us be transformed together. We're going to sing now with joy, singing This Little Light of Mine. Stand with body or voice and join in the fun.
We now pause and reflect on matters of the heart. Thank you, Michael, for assisting me with this. For this morning's ritual, we have water, the fountain, the foundation of life. And we have river stones. The stones are smooth, and the stones have weight. They're indicative of both of life's joys and times of ease, as well as life's burdens and times of heaviness. The water receives these stones with ease and calmness. Each week, you are invited to write a joy, a sorrow, or a concern in this book that's at the back. Or email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. We encourage you to recreate this ritual at home to honor what is in your heart as you experience life's ups and downs. Michael, let's place 3 stones in the water in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous peoples who lived here before us, and for those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land, and for all those hurting in current conflicts across the globe. And now within our community, I'm reminded of something. Oftentimes we get things from our youth. I got something from one of our youth this morning. Garnet, would you stand up? Garnet shared with me this morning that she watched the movie Titanic yesterday. And she said the most important part that touched her was even though the ship was going down, the musicians kept playing. Garnet, thank you for touching me with that this morning. We appreciate you. I'd like to also say that there's a happy birthday to Carol Buffum, who will be celebrating a big birthday. We're not naming that number, but right, tomorrow on March the 11th. Happy birthday, Carol. Oh, give her a round of applause, guys. And Sajad Grace will be teaching at a new school this fall, and evidently that's really good. So, another joy, and it's coming from my heart. My wife Kathy has suffered from COVID all week long and finally tested negative yesterday and today. So it's been a rough week for Kathy, and of course a rough week for me. And it's my understanding that we have a new UU baby. Baby Quill Houseman, born on 3/7 at 11:29 a.m., 9 pounds and 1 ounce, shares a birthday with one of our favorite humans, Michael Lukens. Mama and baby are happy and healthy. It's my understanding that they are coming home today. We're looking forward to seeing them get back with us, and would tell you that would you please pick up this at the back as you exit today. It is a way that we can deliver some meals to the Housemans to help out. And there's a QR code there, and you just snap that and list what you could do in terms of taking some food to the Housemans. And that would be a big help to us. And then one last thing that I'd like to share with you is that this coming Thursday, it's the second Thursday, so it's the second Thursday of each month, we have a grief group here at Emerson, both at 12 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. It's just drop in. You know, oftentimes there are things that are in our hearts. I know there's sometimes grief and sorrow and things that we need to just speak about, whether it's the loss of a job, the loss of a partner, whether it's a sickness, whatever. Please join us on Thursday, 12 or 7. Again, just drop in right here at the church. In thankful awareness, let's speak the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
George has something.
Hi, everyone. My name is George Clear. Very proud to be serving as our Emerson Board of Trustees president this year. It's a temporary position, thankfully. But I was delighted to hear the words of your colleague that you shared this morning, that we're all actually working toward building something more permanent and more substantial. Those were very nice, encouraging words. So today, following the worship service, we'll be holding small group meetings We're going to be talking about our hopes, our dreams for Emerson, and the financial promises we'll be making to make our dreams become reality. So our hopes and our dreams center around our ministry program and the journey we wish to chart into the future. Most all of you are aware that Reverend Christina came to us early in the year, and I want to explain that her position right now is a contract minister, which is also a temporary position. However, the board has been talking about moving and transitioning that to a more permanent situation. However, it's not the board's decision to make. That's the decision that the congregation as a whole will be making. But the ministry program is comprised not only of the minister, it's a lot like our bicameral governance structure. It also is comprised of our community ministry, where our church wants to go, our vision, our dreams, the things we can see ourselves becoming and what we want to be. And that comes from you. That's not something any one person can do. There's a UUA transitions guide, and we looked at that as a board, and several other people in the congregation have already seen it. It's a handy tool because we found ourselves in the unique position of having a contract minister for the first time, and we had no clue what the transition period was like. So the UUA guidelines helped us to determine ways to make that transition smoothly and with the cooperation of the entire congregational community, which is extremely important. We're a congregation-led community. So decisions of that nature are not made by a person or a board. It's made by all of us together. So the ministry evaluation, which takes place according to the UUA transition guide, should take place within the second year of transitioning from contract minister to settled or called minister, whatever transition the congregation deems appropriate. And you've been here a little less than a year. And if it was just an evaluation for Reverend Christina, I'm pretty certain, as the board is determined, that we've already fallen in love with her. So the evaluation is going to be, So if that was the only evaluation we were going to be making, it would be a very easy one to make. But we also need to evaluate ourselves, our ministry as a whole. And that's going to take you, your ideas and your input. So we're going to be conducting cottage meetings. Several members of the Emerson community are going to open up their houses and host little larger meetings than the cottage meetings we're going to have today, which are small, in a circle table, but maybe, 15, 20 people in their homes to talk about where we are, how we identify ourselves, where we want to go, and what we see in our future. So our current plans are to extend Reverend Christina's contract for an additional year, which will give us time to define our Emerson goals for our entire ministerial program. Starting this spring, which hopefully is just around the corner. It was a little nippy this morning when I got up. But we plan to organize cottage meetings, and we're going to discuss our ideas about Emerson's ministry program. We'll include as many Emersonian members as possible in these cottage meetings. This will help us decide, among other issues, how and when to transition Reverend Christina's contract. And we hope to have our community goals and desires about our ministry program finalized sometime in the fall. So we can meet in the spring. Everybody's going to be going on vacation in the summer, and we can pick back up the cottage meetings in the early fall. And that way we can get as many possible Emersonians to participate in this valuable process as we can. And I assure you that your ideas and your input and your decision is the most valuable aspect of what we do here. So we'll begin organizing the cottage meetings very soon. We'll notify you, all of you, by email, by realm messaging, probably mention in the notebook when and where the meetings will take place. So stay tuned in and all in for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Let me get to my spot. One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. On behalf of the Emerson Social Justice Team, I'd like to let you know that this month we are supporting Access Reproductive Care of the Southeast. ARC Southeast provides funding and logistical support to ensure Southerners receive safe and compassionate reproductive care, including abortion services. Through education and leadership development, we build power, especially in communities of color, to abolish stigma and restore dignity and justice. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to the emersonuu.org, select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization.
I have something I want to share with the young and even the young at heart, if anybody wants to come play Jenga with me. Come on up. You can sit here. You can find a spot on the steps or right there in front of the tables. So one of the things that we are talking about today is about covenants. Covenants are promises that we make to each other so that we can be in relationship with each other, based in love and kindness and respect. And covenants are helpful all the time. And they are especially helpful when we aren't sure what to do. Sometimes we might even be in conflict. We might actually be having a disagreement, and we need to come back to our covenants to help us figure out how to come back to each other. Covenants are also really helpful when we are looking for meaningful commitment to our relationship, and also when we are coming together to support our congregation financially. If you were on the playground or at school or in the lunchroom and somebody was having a really hard time relating to you kindly, you might not say, "I'd like to have a covenant with you." But in our hearts, what's important is that we reach for that place in which we can see ourselves and see them, And the words that we have in our values as Unitarian Universalists is that we see the inherent worth and dignity of the other person. What does that even mean? Does anybody have an idea? Yeah, what do you think? Everyone has value and everyone is important in some way. And so if we were to speak to the other person that way and be in relationship with them knowing that they have value, it might change what you say. So sometimes we revisit our covenant whenever we need to strengthen our relationships. And you know, a congregation has a covenant to the members, and the members have a covenant to the organization that is our congregation. And Emerson has been through a lot, and we need each other. What are some of the things that Emerson has gone through that's been hard? COVID. Moving from one building to the other. A fire. Wait, we've got to take some blocks out. We had COVID, moving. Uh-oh, I heard an uh-oh back there. Oh, there's another one. So COVID and moving, oh my goodness, a fire. Ooh, that one is a, oh, there's a good one. You know what? It's wobbling already. Well, okay, don't breathe hard. You know what was hard? Is when Reverend Jones announced that he was retiring after 7 wonderful years from full-time ministry to go into community ministry. It was hard to say goodbye. And you know, it was really hard when Reverend Deborah needed to move to be closer to family.
It was hard to clear the kudzu when we moved in here.
And for those who didn't hear that, Lynette shared that it was hard to clear all the kudzu when we moved in here. Oh my goodness, I had no idea. Look at you going down there at the bottom. Wow. And I would like to add that as we have said goodbye to many beloved people, we also said goodbye to beloved congregational leaders, Scott Dubler and Mark Horn. Ooh. Okay, now let's see what helped us keep our covenant together. I know something. You hired a new music coordinator in 2020. Yay. And you survived and strengthened as a community during the pandemic by moving online and keeping each other safe by being physically apart for almost a year and a half. You supported this congregation financially, not even knowing what the future held. You added new technology and learned how to live stream week after week. On the fly. That's right. Learning as we go. During that time, you also maintained the employment of core staff during the pandemic, not knowing what was coming next. And even with everything happening, you welcomed new members during that time. Then you moved to indoor services, and you were wearing masks as the COVID numbers dropped. And what about after the pandemic? What else happened? Anybody?
You showed up.
Oh, yeah. And before that, okay. Before that, Reverend Deborah and Beth Klein, the director of family ministries at the time, pulled all the programs together and regrouped and started anew. And then last year, hired a new director of family ministries. a new administrator. And then we restarted OWL after COVID. And the choir has grown and grown and grown. Anything else? Yeah. We got to have fun games like bingo? Yeah. And how about, well, we had chocolate. The fountain didn't work, but we had chocolate. And the Memorial Garden. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. And mystery friends. Look at this tall tower. Now, I'm not going to push it over. That would make a big mess. What I can say is that I am so proud to be part of this strong community that is based in our covenant with each other. Like you said, the covenant that values each other and our relationships. And it is such an honor to be able to be here today and to be with you and to know that we are moving forward. And I want to point out to those of you at home, on the side of the sanctuary is a rocket ship going up into space. And it says, "All in for the future. May this be so." Let's sing together. I share with you these words right now called "Come into this place." In this time of prayer, I want you to know that I pray from the deepest part of myself to the deepest part in yours. In this place, you can bring your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, and the part that is beaming with joy, and the part that is seeking truth and new possibilities. In this place, you can open your heart, you can lay down your burden, and you can lift up hope for something new to happen. In this place, you are with fellow travelers on the journey, some new faces, some familiar, and all are welcoming you here. All are welcoming you to this moment. In this place, in this moment, we rise to the occasion to reach out and simply to love each other fully. Amen, and may it be so.
Our reading this morning is by Reverend John Wolfe. There is only one reason for joining a UU church. That is to support it. You want to support it because it stands against superstition and fear, because it points to what's noblest and best in human life, because it is open to men and women of whatever race, creed, color, or national origin. You want to support a UU church because it has a free pulpit, because you can hear ideas expressed here which would cost any other minister his or her job. You want to support it because it's a place where children can come without being saddled with guilt or terrified by some celestial peeping Tom. Where you can learn that religion is for joy, comfort, for gratitude, and love. You want to support it because it is a place where walls between people are torn down rather than built up. Because it is a place for religious displacement of people of our time, the refugees from mixed marriages, and unwanted free thinkers who insist against orthodoxy that we must work out our own faiths. You want to support a Unitarian Universalist church because it is more concerned with human beings than it is with dogmas. Because it searches for the holy rather than dwells upon the depraved. Because it calls no one a sinner, yet knows how deep is the struggle and how great is the hunger for what is good. You want to support a UU church because it can laugh. Because it stands for something in a day where religion is more concerned with platitudes than it is with prejudice and war. You want to support it not because it buys you some insurance policy towards your funeral service, but because it insults neither your intelligence nor your conscience, and because it calls you to worship what is truly worthy of your sacrifice. There is only one reason to pledge to a Unitarian Universalist church: to support it.
Amen. One day I might give a sermon where I put my fist down. Today's not the day. Going with the theme of space and rockets, and I thought you might bring the hat. I was considering putting it on. I can put it on later. I wanted to share with you that when I was young, the ideas of space and rockets and the first spacewalks and steps on the moon loomed really large for me. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and my grandfather was a cartographer at NASA, drawing maps of the moon. And the NASA headquarters were just on the other side of town. So our school programs took lots of field trips there. And I was able to see the rockets and the space relics and the debris that was gathered on the moon's landscape, available for me not to touch, but to see. And my elementary school was named after the NASA astronaut Edward White. He was a member of the crew of Gemini 4 and Apollo 1. The story of the Gemini 4 voyage in 1965 was a really tense one. It began with two astronauts, Edward White and James McDivitt. They were launched into space for a 4-day mission, and after the separation from the Titan II upper stage of their launching rocket, McDivitt attempted to rendezvous with the booster. However, this was unsuccessful since the astronauts were not adequately trained at the time to rendezvous in orbit without the support of their booster. So the objective was changed. And this allowed for an allocated propellant that had been used up to help maneuver them into orbit away from the Earth. Can you imagine making all of those decisions of what to do on the fly with two people in space, trying to keep them alive? And the mission also included 11 different scientific experiments, including the use of a sextant for celestial navigation. Well, after that failed rendezvous attempt, White appeared tired and hot in his suit. So the originally scheduled spacewalk was postponed from the second orbit to the third orbit around the Earth, using up precious time and precious oxygen. However, Edward White became the first American to do a spacewalk outside of the rocket. And during so, White used an oxygen-propelled gun called the Handheld Maneuvering Unit to propel himself away from the ship into space. Who would do that? Would anyone in here do that? I see some hands. I think I'd be petrified that I wouldn't make it back. Whew. While White was outside, a spare thermal glove floated away from the open hatch. It became the first piece of space debris in the low Earth orbit. It burned up as it came back into orbit, into the Earth's atmosphere. And then there was a mechanical problem. The hatch mechanism was not opening and relatching appropriately. And if they couldn't get that door to latch, they could not come back into Earth's orbit and land. McDivitt was able to get the door locked by using his glove to push on the gears that controlled the mechanism. And this added to the constraint of the spacewalk that could have threatened the lives of both men. If McDivitt had been able to if he had not been able to get the hatch latched, he would not have been able to come back and seal the door. However, White was, of course, mic'd during all of this. And he said that he found the spacewalk so exhilarating, even with the tension of everything going on, that he was reluctant to end his spacewalk. He even went overtime, which my sermon might do today too. NASA from Houston, from headquarters, had to order him back into the ship. His words were, "I'm coming in, and it's the saddest moment in my life." Here is a photo of him on the spacewalk. And you see Earth below him. An interesting fact about White was that he was a devout Methodist, and on the Gemini 4 mission, he carried 3 pieces of religious jewelry with him: a gold cross, a St. Christopher medal, and a Star of David. White commented, "I felt while I couldn't take one for every religion in the country, I could take some that were familiar to me." And this photo that you saw was also included in the Golden Record. Do you know about the Golden Record? The Voyager mission in 1977 sent a record of sounds of humanity made with gold and 115 images of humanity in all different kinds of situations, and this picture was included. So after White's momentous achievement in Gemini 4, he continued to support future missions as support staff until he was chosen to be the senior pilot of the first crewed Apollo mission, Apollo 1, that was scheduled for 2 years later in 1967. some of you may remember what happened. Sadly, White died in 1967, alongside astronauts Virgil Gus Grissom and Roger Chaffee, due to a fire in the pure oxygen-filled cabin during the pre-launch testing for Apollo 1 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. 10 missions after that. On the Apollo 11 mission in 1969, with all the fits and starts and tribulations and deaths, Apollo 11 did manage to be the crew, to bring the crew to have the first steps on the moon. Commander Neil Armstrong and the lunar module pilot Buzz Aldrin landed the Apollo lunar module Eagle on July 20th, 1969. With the words, and you might remember them, say it with me, "The Eagle has landed." 6 hours and 39 minutes after landing, Armstrong became the first person to step onto the moon's surface. And I found on the NASA website the full recording of the lunar landing and walk. We won't watch the whole thing, I promise, but we will watch the first steps.
Roger, TV search breakers in. And base 5 clear. Roger. Just a little jump. Buzz, this is Houston. F2, 1/160th second for shadow photography on the sequence camera. Okay. At the foot of the ladder, the lamp footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the lamb now. And full step for man. 1, man time.
He said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And astronaut Buzz Aldrin joined him 19 minutes later, and they spent 2.25 hours together exploring the site that they had named Tranquility Base on the landing. There's another photo. Buzz Aldrin here. This was taken by Neil Armstrong, and what you'll see in the visor reflection is Earth and also the lunar module Eagle and the U.S. flag. What a journey. What an amazing journey to be a part of. As a child, walking into my elementary school named after Ed White, each day I saw Ed White's portrait and some memorabilia of space, and his spacewalk greeted me. And I remember being acutely aware of the amazement of being able to walk in space or even land on the moon. And as a very young child, I was also acutely aware of his untimely death. The NASA program as a whole was made up of great strides, amazing engineering and math and calculations and dreams, and great miscalculations, extreme disappointments, and even the loss of life. And I'm sure for those of you who are alive in 1986, you also remember the explosion of the Challenger mission. Great strides and extreme disappointments. This describes the ups and downs of life, doesn't it? And this also describes some of what our congregation has gone through. Ups and downs, and coming back together to re-covenant for your dreams and your hopes for the future. And as we see with this tower, even with 2 blocks off the bottom, this tower is tall and strong, and Emerson has come through. You are here, and you are strong, and you are stable, and you are reaching forward and striving into the future. So this theme of space is apt. And I don't know if anyone here watches Call the Midwife like I do. I happened to get a preview of the episode 4. If you pay a little extra to PBS, they let you watch it early. As I was writing this sermon, the episode had to do with the first steps on the moon. And the midwife, in her wisdom of old age and looking back over her amazing career, said in reflection of that step onto the moon and that spacewalk, man has reached the moon, but not every star was mapped. Earth remained a place where people could be lost and need a human hand to guide them home. Home is our center of gravity. No scientist can calculate the pull that draws us back or hurls us out into the dark beyond. Fragile and petrified and brave, but still we travel onward, one small step at a time. So yes, onward we go, one small step at a time, together. In the membership book, in the very front page, the 20 charter members of the Emerson Unitarian Universalist congregation's names are listed. Can you imagine what they would think of you today? Seeing this building, this big, beautiful choir, the children and the vitality among you, I imagine they would be so proud of you because you are living into your vision and your mission. Your vision is to be a radically inclusive, open-minded, beloved community that is a vibrant source of peace, hope, and healing. That's beautiful. And your mission is to seek truths, celebrate differences, and to act on our Unitarian Universalist principles and inspire the best in each of us and to serve the world. And that is what you do. One day at a time, you, the members of Emerson UU congregation, are living into your vision and your mission. You do so in the roles that you play in each other's lives. You do so by caring for each other. You do so in all the ways that you involve yourself in the community outside of these four walls. And you do so by supporting the stewardship campaigns year after year. Reverend Bill Neely wrote that stewardship is our way of saying, "We got you." It is as if your bus fare has been paid by those who came before you. It is as if the founder said, "Come on, sit down, take a rest. There's a seat on the bus." You, the stranger, you, the sad, you, the fearful, you who feels alone, your fare has been paid by people of faith who built these walls and the walls of your original building that you acquired, I think, from another congregation. All of the energy that went into building these walls that hold us so carefully. Many of those founders are not around anymore. Many have died, and yet their gifts live on in ministries that exist to welcome, strengthen, and bless you. Reverend Neely invites all of us as Unitarian Universalists to come here and know love, to come here and know hope, to come here and know you are not alone. We got you, he said, and you have your bearings, and you have some hope and your sense of your own voice and strength, and know that you can help others too. Here in this congregation, you will be surrounded by people committed to not only reflecting the difficulties of the world, but transforming all that is so harsh into moments of beauty and goodness. And you'll be able, with our strength and our shared inspiration, to bring others aboard so that they will find warmth and inspiration too. All of us on this bus will turn and share with more people. And we will be able to, having had our fare paid by those founders and those who came before us, pay the fares next to those who come. So in this house of love and hope, we welcome all who share our mission and our vision. So as we all pledge this year for our stewardship drive, we are inviting each of us to dream big and to say out loud to each other what we need for our lives and for what this place needs to be. So pledge your financial support in each way you can, because it is taking a risk. To pledge is to take a risk. It is the risk that is to act courageously. So let's talk about risk as we close this service. Perhaps this taps into some trepidation that we might be feeling at this moment. But let's think of it this way. Reverend Joan Javier Duval writes of risk like this: we might not automatically think of this congregation as a place that is risky. But you may feel like it's the opposite of risky, because it is safe, it is comfortable, and it is certainly those things at times. But I believe that this community is also a place of risk. It's a place of risk because it's where we ask one another to make commitments. It is a place where we learn together for what it means and what it feels like to follow through on the things that we ask from each other. And sometimes that commitment to each other is that we need change in our life. And when we are willing to risk asking for what we need, we are risking asking for transformation. Transformation of this community with our hopes and our dreams, transformation of the community around us in which we so want our values to shine through. Transformation of this world so that our children and all the children in this world can live in peace and with love. So today, as we all support our annual campaign, may our word today be that faith is an action word, not just a collection of beliefs, but instead, may our faith be an extension of what a difference can be made in the world. And as the stewardship campaign is titled, let's be all in for the future. Let's sing together as we come to a close of this wonderful service. Let's sing the fire of commitment, rise in body or voice as you are able. You just to stay standing just for a moment. Let's look around at each other. I promise for all the introverts in the room, I'm not going to make you take the hand of the person next to you. But I do want you to look around this room and see this beloved community. If you are proud of this community, be its advocate. If you are concerned about its future, share its message. And if its values resonate deep within you, give it a measure of your devotion. This community, this congregation cannot survive without your faith, your confidence and your enthusiasm, and its destiny, the larger hope, literally rests in your hands. Ollie, would you come forward and put the chalice out? We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth or the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. And I'm going to share the closing words, and then Michael's going to tell us a little bit more of what's going to happen next. Go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.
Good morning. All right, so because today is Stewardship Sunday, it's a little different, and so this announcement is for the RE kids. When they release you, you're going to go out this door and gather and meet me right outside where we normally get food, because we are all going up together to the upstairs. When we are done upstairs, we will come back down and we will get food. I promise I will not deprive you of food today. Okay, I know the important things. You got a question? Oh, hey. All right. Thanks. That's it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, in person and online, to our annual stewardship event, All In for Our Future. Today, I want to give you an idea of how things unfold so that we can enjoy the activities and move quickly through some of them. I'd like to acknowledge our stewardship leadership team. You'll need to know who they are in case you need a little direction today. Claudia Hebert, would you just stand up? Stand up. Dave Schimmel. Okay. And I want to acknowledge, I don't think Claude is here, Claude Fravian also, and me. And I want to dedicate my participation today to Emerson and to my husband, Mark Horn, who first drew me into this work. And over all the years, we've both been active supporters of many things Emerson, almost everything Emerson, and especially our stewardship campaigns. So what's going to happen next is we're going to take a break. And it's going to be a quick one. I call it B&B, bathroom and beverage. We have, Millie has set up the beverages and maybe cookies, I don't know, but beverages in the narthex. So we're going to go out from the sanctuary into the narthex. You take your bathroom break, get a beverage, check with Claudia. She has a board there that gives you room assignments. We're going to do breakout groups. If you did not register for these, don't worry about it. Claudia will find a space for you. So I hope that everyone will be willing to participate to the best of their ability. And so get your room assignment. So bathroom, beverage, table assignment. And go quickly to the rooms that are assigned, as quickly as you can, so that you can get started there. The facilitator packages are in each room. Do we have facilitators? Maybe raise your hands just so they may have already gone to some of their rooms, but there are some of your facilitators. So they will guide you through the activities in those rooms. Online, what we would like for viewers online today, if you would like to participate in a stewardship activity, Dave Schimmel is going to set that up in Zoom with you next week. Or actually, I don't know that it'll be Zoom, but he'll set that up with you. So I ask the online participants to enter your email address into the chat. And Keith, you'll capture those, yes? Yes, Diane will capture those email addresses, okay? Thank you to our AV team. All right, and Michael has already told you the youth has their own activities. The activities in the breakout rooms will conclude with a pledge ceremony, and then you come back in here, and we're going to build our wall of possibilities, and we'll have someone here to guide you with that, okay? And then there will be lunch. There will be lunch and prizes. So hope you'll come back and join us for lunch in here as soon as your breakout groups are finished, and then we'll do lunch, okay? Thank you, everyone. Quickly. Thank you.
I don't even get to say anything.
Sorry. Yes.
I was here like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he mentioned it.
That sounds good.